away from my Carolina home. Had dreams about the West and started to roam. 6 long months on a dust-covered trail. They say heaven's at the end, but so far it's been hell. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. We were digging and shifting from 5 to 5, selling everything we found just to stay alive. Gold flowed free like the whiskey in the bars. Sinning was the big thing, Lord, and Satan was a star. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And blood lined the streets. Men were shot down for the sake of having fun, or just to hear the noise of their 44 guns. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Now my widow, she weeps by my grave. Tears flow free for her man couldn't save. Shot down in cold blood by a gun that carried fame, all for the useless and no good, worthless claim. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there.
Hey, YouTubers and friends, how y'all doing tonight? Good to see all of you here. Friends from all over the world. Um, I hope you are all well. I'm doing better. I was a little sick last week, but I'm much better now. Tonight with Toledo Just Dano and I and Rose, can't forget our vixen. We have Greg MeMiner joining us tonight. Um, so you know what I'm gonna say now, right? Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey, YouTubers and friends, thanks for joining us for another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live with Toledo Jess, Dano, the Treasure Vixens, and I.
I bought that in California. That's a sniping tool.
Your mics are hot. Your mics are hot. Your mics are hot.
We're just talking about turkey basters, guys. That's it.
Premising tool. I didn't say nothing like an impregnation device or
nothing.
So what was that all about, Ed? Warning us that our mics were hot? When do you start doing that?
He just comes on and snickers.
I thought I'd be nice, Jesse. I thought I'd be nice, you know.
Okay.
Instead of seeing how far I could go, you know. But you should hear these people sometimes when they think the mic's cold.
Oh, hi, Rose. Hi, Dano.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hope you had a good week. Hope it hasn't been too long, too busy.
It is only Tuesday, but
well, since last Tuesday. That's
I was sick for a week since last Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it.
But hey, it is what it is, Rose. It is what it is. I had a great weekend at Gold Rush Days and came home, did the show on Tuesday, and then I was sick all week.
No, bummer, man.
It is what it is.
You coming back around? You feeling better now?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you have the coup?
No, I didn't have the Kung flu.
Okay.
I don't know how I'd find out anyway, because I'm not going to get a swab shoved down my nose. I can still taste. So.
You just had the tired of working flu.
No, not at all. I was in bed for 2.5 days straight, feeling like crud.
Let's say hi to our chat room here. All our friends are in. Lots of people in here.
Well, yeah, because we have the world famous MeMiner in the house tonight.
That's what I hear.
You know, he's a big celebrity here on YouTube. Oh,
I see. Manus, how are you tonight?
There's Mark Miller. What's up, Mark?
This is Mrs. JP and the Bulldogs. What's up, girl?
JP Lonzamore is in here too.
See you around.
Don't forget our bestest person out there, Mr. Lodak. Don't forget to mention.
The world's greatest moderator.
Dennis Hendricks.
My brother, Moto Mining. We have
Mark Miller.
I looked at that and I was going to say outdoorsy gal, but I looked closer. It's outdoor walking.
I've seen Brother James is in already.
GoPro Unlimited, thank you very much for the super chat.
What's up, Benzo? Benzo Gold. And James. What's up, James?
Smith Gold's in here. Jeff, what's up?
Hey, Jeff. Paul Davis.
Jeff Smith Gold says hi, Greg. So.
Hello.
Energy Og. What's up?
Marcos, hello from back to you in Portugal. Yeah.
Terry Marshall is here. Jason, Ayou, Colorado.
High energy girl. Welcome.
Carl, how are you tonight? And how's the girls? Hey, with me, he's in here again.
Feel like
Terry
I'm
Marshall, good to see our friend from down under. William.
High Energy Og says, Greg, I'll be heading your way next week on the Hardy A. Oh, what? Harley A. Davidson. On the Harley A. Davidson. On my
Must
way
be a
to
Honda or something.
Fumis Falls. Let me know if you will be home and we can get together. That was for
When
you.
is he going to be here? Is it? Yeah, was it next week or when do you say?
Next week.
That
Next
narrows
week.
it down. Yeah, probably.
You say
Probably around. Yeah. Yeah.
Ohio relic.
Oh,
welcome to drop by.
and it's a Kawasaki. So, sorry, High Energy. I had a
That's my first
Kawasaki a long time ago. Good bike.
Evening, Wayne.
My
Pete.
first bike was a 9. Oh.
So it looks like we said hi to everybody.
Wayne just showed up. I said hi to Wayne Peter.
Did we miss anybody?
Atlantis, Rannery, and Exotics.
Rag says hello from Ontario. Greetings,
Hello.
everyone. Yeah, we have a few of you Ontarians in the house, usually. Except for some of
Yeah,
those
Chrissy
British.
shows up.
Marcos, how are you?
Yeah, Chrissy's here quite a bit, usually.
Yeah.
You know Outdoorsy Gallo.
Oh yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, we've even gone ice fishing together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
She spoke very highly about that. Believe it was with your daughter, her and Johnny, and you and your daughter.
And, right, and one of my daughter's boyfriends. So.
I'm paying.
But yeah, it was a good time. Caught some fish.
Nice. Wally, thank you
that.
for the super chat. Where's Daisy and Shelby? I don't know what you're talking about.
Shelby's running around somewhere here.
Oh, okay.
Daisy tries to avoid Shelby as much as she can. Shelby chews her ears.
Your dogs.
Oh yeah. But Shelby's now 5 months old, so she's getting better. Still too rambunctious to take to Cobalt.
Hey, Susan. Susan Hamilton's in the house tonight.
Hi, Susan. Benzo Bro. Taco time. Well, leave it up, because you don't want to miss when we give away 3 giveaways courtesy of Greg. Oh, shoot. I need to bring up that email so I can show it. I'll give you a sneak peek of it now. But you know how we roll here, right? We don't do giveaways to get you people in here. We do giveaways as a reward for you being here. See how I am now? But they're beautiful. As I said, courtesy of Greg. I actually have some, and they're polishing up really nice. I'm wet sanding them, and they're becoming beautiful silver ore slabs. But you never know when one of them are gonna happen, so
Gotta be
You
in
know.
it to win it, guys. Gotta be here.
Gotta be
Yeah.
here to win it. That's right. And what's your radius, Greg? Global or Canada, North America, or
Within walking distance?
I driving 14 hours, maybe 17 hours. I intended this year to go to Thunder Bay, which would be 17 hours. Didn't make it because I got hurt. And then there were forest fires. Beyond that, I usually fly. And I've still got gold claims in British Columbia and hope to actually get more. If I get a decent claim, something to spend some time on, I will drive out there. Then I take my dogs, I can take a gun, I can take a camper. It would just be so much more pleasant.
Well, I think Ed was asking you about your shipping.
My
yeah.
who?
Your shipping. How far will you ship? Global?
Yeah. If I'll try anywhere. I'll ship anywhere. If for some reason it's not allowed, maybe it'll even sneak through. Who knows?
Okay. Well, I just say that because we have some Portuguese here. We have some
Australia.
Aussies here, and some of those British Columbia guys, you know.
They're the worst.
Hey, what's up, Andy?
Andy Thrax Mining, how are you doing? And Moto. Um,
Oh, look who's in the house. Radio is late.
a little late. You know, Ronald, in your case, late isn't necessary than better than not at all. Remember that, buddy.
Huh.
It's okay, Andy Thrax. Late is better than never, buddy, but you're not Ronald. You're
Right.
not our friend Ert Radio.
Special.
Hey, Klondike Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Klondike Mike, how are you tonight?
You know we love you, Ronald. That's why we give you so much grief, buddy.
So Greg, you just now inadvertently mentioned that you would travel 17 miles to go somewhere.
17 hours.
17 hours. I'm sorry, not miles, hours.
Sounds
Yeah.
about like
And-
us.
What's
And I'm still in Ontario.
Yeah,
I'm
what's
still
in
in
that radius
Ontario.
area? What all you have in that radius?
Well, 17 hours to be Thunder Bay, which is amethyst, silver, a little bit of copper, and some agates. On the way, maybe some pudding stone, some other rocks and minerals on the way.
Yeah.
It would be a fun trip.
So you're based out of Canada?
I'm just outside Toronto. I'm just northeast of Toronto. Yeah, I can hit Toronto Airport in 45 minutes if I take the toll road.
Do you take trips to the U.S.? Well, up until recently.
Yeah, recently we're restricted. Bo Aquachugger wants me to go down. I really want to go to Ohio and look for and go to the church that's there. That looks amazing.
Beautiful.
And I have never gone for the Herkimer Diamonds, so I wouldn't mind trying that too.
Fun place.
Yeah, we went there. We had a good time there.
Yeah.
I bet you.
Yeah, that's a fun place.
That was neat.
Yeah, I bet you.
What did you want to see here in Ohio?
Flint
the
Ridge.
Flint Ridge, there you go.
Oh, okay, Flint Ridge. Awesome.
Yeah,
I got a friend who was there. He said that a lot of the people were harvesting flint for napping to make arrowheads and things, and they were tossing the real colored rocks over to one side. And he said from a driving distance, now he lived in and around Niagara Falls, a driving distance from Niagara Falls, that is by far the absolute best place to go for premium rock. Hey, you can't go wrong.
I went up and visited Ed, Dano, and Jess. Oh, you know what? We were in Indiana, but they still had trip there. I got enough to tumble, and oh, it's so easy to tumble and comes out so beautiful. It really does. It's very easy. I'd recommend it for beginners.
Yeah, yeah. If beginners, if they want to tumble, should either use Jaspers, Tidewater Magnet Thrower.
There's a buddy that just popped in.
Cool. Yeah, the first tumbles you do should either be Jasper, which is just another name for chert, or agate, which is another silica. It's quartz. Yep.
Couldn't agree more. It's just so easy peasy. You throw it right in
Yeah,
there.
it's forgiving.
Yeah.
It's very forgiving. Nice designs, polishes up well.
Color's
You can't go
beautiful.
wrong.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous.
Whereas some people think, hey, I'm just going to go down the beach and collect pretty rocks and throw them in a tumbler. And typically they're disappointed. That's how come there's a whole bunch of fairly new tumblers that come up for sale. They sit in a cupboard for about 3-4 years,
You're right.
and then they sell them for dirt cheap.
Do you do a traditional rotary tumbler, or have you tried the vibratory tumblers?
Okay, little story. I have working about 4 or 5 rotary tumblers. I got a bunch of broken ones too that
Right. Yeah.
and you know what really breaks them is the silver. I did have a vibe, and I broke it with silver.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It just, you know, that center pin that goes up completely snapped because of the weight.
Wow.
So at some point I'll probably get a lotto, and I'll just be a little more careful with it.
So was it so silver's obviously a little bit heavier then. Is it hard as well? Is it?
No, it's not especially hard. It's in around the calcite, which is 5 on the moss.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's not the problem. Now, these rocks are mixed with their minerals, but where I go, it's typically either nickel, which is nickeline, or cobalt. And the cobalt tends to be a little bit harder. Is it? Or softer? Might be a little bit softer. Maybe the nickel's harder. I don't know. Anyway, they all slice up. They all tumble if you're careful. The cobalt, if it's pure cobalt, tends to be really crumbly. But any of those will polish up like chrome.
So it's interesting. Cobalt isn't cobalt a metal? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yes.
Never put the 2 and 2 together. I know it's highly toxic.
Yeah, especially when it's mixed with arsenides. Double whammy.
Yeah, I don't know why it never even crossed my mind. So I want to dive into a couple questions. If the guys don't mind, or they'll stop me.
We won't stop you, Rose. I'm gonna go roll up my window real quick in my truck. So
we always try to watch videos of guests that we're gonna see, and sometimes we get to do a quick sneak peek. And today I got to do some binging. I could not stop watching some of your videos, and I ended on the one where you found give me a second. I got to think of how I Googled it. Now I can't forget. It was a pyrite. It was a rare pyrite, or
Oh, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's got a story.
I would love to hear more about it. I only got a clip of it, and then I had to stop watching it, and I was dying to know.
Yeah, so there is one mine east of me, maybe an hour and a half drive, called the Memoran, or it's outside a town called Marmara. And there was a big iron mine there that had an awful lot of different minerals. Great place to collect when it was under different ownership. It's been closed up now for 4 or 5 years at least to collecting. People still sneak in, but that seems to me to be a waste of time. I'd be able to drive into where the rock piles are, pick what I want, stick it in the back of my truck, and drive out. You know, I wouldn't. And as well, they've got security guards there, so I sure wouldn't go in. So from that mine, I found some rocks that I thought were somewhat interesting. When I put them into the acid, I think I put them into muriatic. Sometimes I put them into vinegar. It does the same thing. Vinegar is a bit slower, quite a bit slower, but it's a little bit safer. Stuck it in the muriatic. It dissolved down to something, and I went, I don't really see anything interesting. So I ran it through my saw, just a tile saw. And I post videos, wins or fails. So it's a win or it's a fail, doesn't matter, because we all learn from it.
Right.
This one, as soon as I posted it, and I'd actually taken the two halves and thrown them in my garden because I didn't see anything that was interesting. Kind of this one gray crystal was in there, and it was obvious. And I had a lady from my Rock and Mineral Club phone me, email me, text me, and said, what you found is extremely rare, especially for that mine. It's worth big money. I went, no. But the next weekend, I was supposed to go north, place outside Temagami, to meet some people, do some collecting. And there was a fellow there that is well known on the internet. I won't name him, but he's a major buyer and seller of rare rocks. And I showed him this thing, and boy, did he want it. And he actually offered me money for it, and I went, then I'll keep it. I've since lost it, of course. I have no idea where it is. Yeah. So that was that crystal. It was nothing to look at. It was considered expensive because it's rare, and especially rare for that particular mine. I don't think anyone else had found one before me at that mine.
What was it called?
It was a form of pyrrhotite.
Thank you, pyrrhotite. Thank you.
Not pyrite, but pyrrhotite.
Right.
And yeah. And I'm sure since then I looked at the rock and went, I tossed it. My garden is full of rocks. Actually, if somebody wanted to rockhound and find probably some pretty good rocks, or especially metal detect, my garden is a great place to start. One of the little stories is my daughter loves anything with an engine. So she's got a sled, she's got a motocross bike, she claims both of my ATVs, etc. And it's a 2-car garage, so it's kind of full. What she'd like to do is just hang out down there and maybe work on something, maybe just hang out with her friends. And at the very back wall, I had it loaded with my best silver from years ago. I've since got silver a bunch of different places. But so the back wall of the garage loaded with silver, but she decided she really needed to clean it out. So my silver is from the garage, which, like I said, I considered some of my best. She just tossed it in the garden. And so I probably have somewhere in just the front garden, probably like 1 ton of silver.
Wow. So I guess your daughter is not that into any form of pounding then?
Not at all. She, I took her up to Cobalt, and prior to us getting there, they had some machines in, and they moved a bunch of rock that actually taken a mound that was probably 30 meters high. I don't know how wide, 70, 80 meters wide. And they moved it all to another part of the mine. And they also had dug out where some shafts were to inspect them and then reburied them. So now this whole area is fresh rock. I get there and I'm super excited. There's actually a number of locals out there. I bet you when we arrived, there were 15 people with metal detectors, but you couldn't walk, you couldn't move your coil, what do a 2-3 foot swing without hitting a decent target. And it was, okay, pull that up. All these things are on the surface. But it was her first year with a hunting license. And I told her, let's go to Cobalt because there's some good bird hunting up there. and I took an ATV. So we hit this place, and I said, I'd really like to do 20 minutes, half an hour, see what's going on. At 20 minutes, it was, Dad, can we go? Can we go hunting? Really? and I had a detector for her, but she was just not interested. I tried to interest her by saying, okay, here's a signal, you dig it up, you get to keep it. Hey, it's silver, you can sell it. Nothing. So we went hunting.
Some people get the bug, some people don't, I suppose. My daughter's not that interested either. She really isn't. I'm hoping maybe if she gets a little older, she'll change her mind. But right now, she could care less.
Well,
you know what I need?
Something I noticed with a lot of people that we've had on this show is that when they were younger, they were introduced to, either gold prospecting or panning or metal detecting or whatever their dad or parent was into, and they didn't really get into it until later on in life. They go, oh, you know what? I remember that was fun. Let me do that again. And all of a sudden they're hooked.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Or she needs the boyfriend that's into it. And then I'm golden.
Right. Yeah. He likes it, she likes it.
Yep. And so even when it comes to, so wasn't just a silver. I took her out west. We actually joined up with Pioneer Paulie. I'm sure you guys all know him.
Oh yeah.
So we joined up with Paulie and messed around with him. And then we jumped on a plane and went to Whitehorse, so in the Yukon, and then drove down to Atlin. So we had a pretty good trip. It lasted, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. And even in the gold, what she is more interested in is whether or not that same creek had fish.
A true hunter.
Yeah. No, what she did like, though, was the four-wheel driving, especially, even though it was in a rental, I'd pass the car over and let her drive it, and she liked that. Although some of those roads are pretty spooky. Yeah.
Once again, binging on these videos, I would say almost every video I saw where you were using, you said muric acid? Muriatic acid. You would say, this is not a how-to video. And you wouldn't touch, down on this acid. Is that something you have to have a license for? Are you worried about somebody using it and hurting themselves?
Well, it depends what country you're in. I don't think they sell it in Great Britain because there's been too many acid attacks. But in the US and Canada, you can buy it at almost any hardware store. And certainly any store that sells pool cleaning equipment, it's outdoor pools or hot tubs, they use muriatic to spike the water. It's hydrochloric acid. It's what you can buy is somewhat diluted. If you're going to play with rocks, you dilute it again. I like going something to the effect of 4-1 or 5-1, 5 being the water. And still, if you splash yourself in the eye, you're in trouble. If you get it on your skin and don't wash it up right away, it'll actually burn the layer off your skin.
Wow.
So it's not a toy. And then when you're done, you have to dispose of it. It's actually beautiful as a weed killer.
Yeah, okay.
So some people dump it dump it in your flower garden. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Here, Shelby.
You don't want to dump it on your cement either.
Unless you want to etch
unless you
it.
want your cement.
Well, yeah, if you want to etch it.
Yeah.
But
It'll clean your cement.
I use it for cleaning up crystals and stuff. So
Right.
you're at, get all the excess dirt and all the stains off of it.
Have you yourself injured yourself using the acid?
Yeah. Of course. I'm talking from experience. Yeah. Life is a great teacher.
Yeah, and you want to be careful about the fumes also, can be very dangerous.
Oh yeah, don't breathe it in.
outside. Definitely use it outside
Yeah, you
or in a
can.
well-lit area. And yes, another case of using proper PPE.
So,
Right.
how long, so compared to vinegar, how much faster are your results? If you don't mind me asking, if you don't want to talk about it, we can drop it, but I'm super curious.
No, that's fine. It's a good topic. So, it depends how much you dilute it. It also depends which vinegar you use. There are some stronger vinegars. You can actually speed vinegar up by heating it. So put it in your outdoor barbecue or something, and it'll do a bit faster. But something that maybe was in vinegar for 3 days, you could do in 3 hours in muriatic.
Okay.
Just as kind of a general rule. Yeah, and diluted muriatic. Yeah, so it is much faster. Like when you put calcite. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna have you reiterate because we just had a question come through. Say, do you neutralize muriatic acid before disposing? Oh, that's okay.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, and you can just use baking soda for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially, you don't want to dispose of it anywhere where while it's still wet or on the surface that a kid or an animal could run through. That'd just be bad.
Okay. All right. I was like sitting in my head. Oh man, I don't know if you guys have watched his videos or not, but he takes a very ordinary looking rock, and he knows that, oh gosh, you have to forgive me. It's been a long day. You'll see a lot of, is it the calcite that you're getting rid of?
Calcite or blackstone, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see the calcite or the blackstone, and it's just a very ordinary rock. And he puts it in this acid, and then when it comes out, I mean, it's like a little lottery of what you're gonna find in there.
Yeah, a lot of times though, what you look for before you waste acid on just a rock is look for something on the outside. And then you have to determine what it is on the outside that you think you may want to keep, because some things are affected and some things are unaffected by these acids. Mm-hmm. There's something called a solubility table. So you can look up, just Google solubility table, and it'll tell you the various kinds of acids and what's affected, slightly affected, or not affected. Kind of important to know, otherwise you may have a good crystal in there and destroy it. Just use the wrong acid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with that yourself?
Oh, sure. I've destroyed a lot of samples.
Do you sell any of your pieces, or are you just a collector?
I mostly give them away, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a hunter. I like exploring. I like finding. I like playing with it, and then I kind of lose interest. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't normally sell. Amy sold a few things for me, just because she wanted the money. I've once in a while, like everybody, you sell something, but I don't, because I've got the YouTube channel, I don't want to get myself in trouble and be the example from the authorities. Mm-hmm. And in Canada, if it's a public place where you're collecting, if you turn around and sell those rocks, it's actually illegal. Oh. You can trade them. You can use them for your own collection. You can trade them. But as soon as you start selling, and a lot of people are, I don't say it's a bad thing for them to sell, but I just don't want to get myself in that sort of trouble. I don't want to be made the example of.
Yeah.
And then other places, they've actually, in order to take the rock out of even their own claim, they've got to file certain paperwork and get the nows, the notice of works, and it's not as simple as it sounds. And so if I get permission to be in someone's place, I don't want to get them in trouble. So it just makes life simpler by saying, hey guys, I don't have a store. I'm not selling.
Well, I think people appreciate the giveaways anyway. Do you have,
Okay, I heard two things there. It was
sorry, go
people
ahead, Jeff.
appreciate.
Well, I said you're not selling, but you'll trade for some paper.
Oh,
Oh.
I'd rather trade for some PM. What are you talking about? I like precious metal.
That works too.
I'm gonna pronounce Reg's last name wrong. Reg, is it Labe? Labe? Asked if you had any Titanite in your collection.
Titanite?
Titanite.
Titanite?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't think you were talking about the stuff that explodes when you shoot it. Yes. There's a place not far from me, an hour and a half drive, called Titanite Hill, and I've taken some great samples off that hill. There's a lot of apatite there as well, but Titanite, yes, I've got Titanite. I love this stuff. When it forms the crystal, it ends up looking like a tomahawk. And a lot of times it's small, but I've got ones the size of my fist.
Interesting.
And they're beautiful. The only trouble with it is it's actually considered a gemstone. It's not really hard. I think it's again around a 5 or 5.5. This winter I'll probably try cabbing some, but I'll harden it first.
Oh, thank you for saying that. How do you harden something?
I'm no expert at it, so what I'd suggest if someone's interested is Google it. But the method I like is you can buy a tube of epoxy that you mix with water, and you leave it in there for 1 to 3 days, take it out, and let it dry, and the rock is supposed to be harder.
Huh.
I haven't done enough of it to really know yet.
Okay.
Yeah, there's other ways, depends on the mineral. Some people heat their rocks up. There's a bunch. There's a couple of websites that have like 5 or 6 methods, but this one sounded like the simplest one to me.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it. You yourself you heated or warmed a few stones before you put your wax on them, and I was wondering if there was.
Oh, but that was different. Yeah, that was just so I could put the stick on it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But when these people harden, I think they're putting it at low temperature for a number of hours, like overnight, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the rock and how it's affected. I tried doing it. You can also, with heat, sometimes change the color. So I collected a bunch of zircons, and I thought, but they had a nice shape, but they're black. And I thought, I wonder if I can make them clear by heating them. I tried it because it's supposed to work. Didn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried. It was fun to try. Like I said, I like playing with rocks.
Is that how they get some of these really bright, vivid colors on agates? Does they heat treat them?
Well, they might. Or my daughter actually came home with one because she thought it was a great gift. As soon as I looked at it, I said, "Oh, it's been dyed."
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So they dye them and heat treat them?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
And or
Yeah, that's what I heard they did with them, because the ones you buy at the souvenir shops, you go, man, those are really pretty. Those are awfully bright. But it's because they've been dyed or heat treated or both.
I would say if they're exceptionally cheap, you could almost count on the fact that they've been dyed and that you probably get what you pay for. But I also am no expert.
Right. Well, you get what you pay for, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Generally. And you got to be able to trust the shop.
Yeah, and some of them, don't get me wrong, some of those dyed stones, some of them are beautiful. I have a beautiful dyed cabochon that my husband gave me. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous piece. So sometimes I think it's appropriate, especially if you're trying to make some jewelry or learn how to make some jewelry, and then other times it's frustrating that people may be advertising that they're genuine stones and they're dyed stones. So
I like
Right.
Daniel's trick. He finds pretty rocks and he sprays them with clear coat.
Yeah,
You dip them in water.
not everybody likes that. Some people don't even like if you put like mineral oil on it.
Oh, yeah.
They consider they want them 100% just the way they were.
Purist.
It all depends.
Yeah.
If I try to use something on a rock to give it a temporary shine, I like using, for most of them, Armor All. Spray it down, wipe it off, but if you don't like it, it'll come off with soap. Just boil it or put it in hot water with some soap. It's all gone again. So there's something. Armor All, you know, the stuff you use in your car.
Yeah, never even
On the dashboard and stuff.
I think that's an oil-based cleaner, isn't it? Isn't it oil-based?
I think it's got some oil. It's got some wax. It works really good at most rocks.
So I mean,
And I was going to say, and then on the silver, like on the metals, if you don't want to take it, normally you start to really get your shine at about 1,500 grit. And you can take it to 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever, 8,000. You can buy even sandpapers that way. And then you get into the diamond grits, which you even go up to 50,000. Don't want to go that far and just want to stop and have something that looks good and feels nice when you touch it. The Meg cleaner, you know, Meg wheels, the polishes you use to clean the wheels on your truck.
Oh.
Beautiful. The cloth gets black, gets tarnished, and what comes out is actually looking pretty good. But if you're selling your rocks, you can't do that.
Right.
Or you have to declare what materials you put on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. To being honest about it, some people are going to care and some people aren't. So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned going to Ohio, but I love asking. So, no holds barred. You have the biggest budget in the world. Where are you going to search for rocks or gems or even gold? And you can pick 3 places. So you get 3 places to go wherever you want. Where are you going?
Okay, big area.
Anywhere in the
On
world.
the bucket list is Australia.
Yeah.
Love to go there.
Yeah.
But I want to have enough time to do it justice. You know, going to Australia is like saying, hey, I'm going to go to Canada. It's kind of a big place, boy.
Right.
Holes and gold.
Yeah.
Need a few months to visit there. I'd probably throw away my
Exactly.
passport.
I'm with you.
Terry said there's no gold in Australia, so don't bother.
Right.
Yeah, we
Hey,
hear that about Utah too, Terry.
I think we've got a friend right now looking for opals in Australia. Lucky Duck, Nikki B. I think she's on
Nikki, I guess that's where she's at.
Yep.
Out looking for
Well, that'd be
opals.
cool.
So, do you ever do
That'd be cool.
any like gemstone pay dirt? Have you ever done any? Ordered those gemstone pay dirt?
No. But what I did do is, I won't name them, but a very well-known pay dirt seller is I had a whole bunch of crystals that I did not know what to do with. So I shipped them. I said, do you want them? And just put them in your bags of pay dirt, and people can find these things. Like this one here is apatite. In a lot of places I go, I can find little chips. And some of the chips are almost jewelry grade, like they're nice and clear, and they're pretty rock. Hey, do you want to throw a little handful of those into your pay dirt? And people think they found diamonds and wonder what the hell they found. So I sent him, I don't know, 20, 30 pounds of just little pieces.
Yep.
And he said people loved it. They just loved it. Because there was something else to find, rather than just pick through and find a few garnets or a few this, that. This he was able to give them something else. I even sent them some bigger crystals. That was kind of cool. And it was a good way to, I just didn't want to throw them in my garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to do with them. And in fact, outside right now, I've got one of the dog bowls is completely stuffed with apatite crystals, just little chips.
Right.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, it's brilliant.
Well, what some people do is some people put it in their garden because they're full of potassium.
I just never.
So it's a fertilizer.
I knew that you could do that, but it's weird to be like, oh, and I just put apatite in my garden and it, it's helping it out. It's so crazy. Coming from a big lover of pay dirt, I am definitely more apt to purchase pay dirt that could also include other goodies like that. I'm more excited about, can I find a garnet, or is there going to be something else in there? I love it. I love it to death.
Yeah. Well,
doing your hunting, being
I tell you
out,
off this.
Yeah, being out in the wilderness and the wild looking for these stones. Have you had any dangerous encounters with wild animals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to physically stake a claim, a placer claim in British Columbia, and there was one I really wanted. And what you do is you square off a post at one end, then you take a compass bearing and you walk 1,000 meters, and you do another square, and then on the claim posts, you tell them how many meters to the right or left you're claiming, and because that's a lot of work just to do that, and you actually have to, between the posts, have to flash the trees or tie ribbon on them. And it's in the mountains, so it is a great deal of work. I'd always go 500 meters right as one claim, and then 500 meters left as the other claim. So I ended up with a square kilometer. This one time, I actually had a rifle with me, but I left it in my tent, and I had to walk up the side of a mountain, and all I had with me to blaze the trees was a little half axe. The handle is about 1.5 feet long, and it's got the axe head on it. So I'm walking up the mountain, and all of a sudden things felt really different. I don't know if the birds stopped twerping or I heard a stick get broken on or something, but I turn around and I could see from maybe 120 yards away down the mountain, there's this grizzly bear walking up, following my track, and every tree he hit that I blazed, he stood up and sniffed it and then dropped down to all fours and walked to the next one and do the same thing. So what I did is I backed into an outcrop of rock, and I stood there looking at my stupid half axe, thinking, that's not even an equalizer, because this is a big bear. And he got within 40 yards, maybe down to 30. And he took a big sniff, maybe the wind swirled or something. And he did one of you hear horses do it? And he turned around and walked away. I guess I stank.
Said, no white meat for
but
me.
I've learned later that bears claim the territory by scratching a tree. And of course, whereas blazing was maybe only 6 foot up, maybe 5 foot up. So I would have been a teeny little bear. And I was just ticking this guy off because I'm claiming his territory. So that was one. Another one, I was in, so that one was up in the Caribou in BC on Antler Creek, which was a nice historic gold creek. And actually, the claim went right up the side of what's called Nugget Mountain. No nuggets up there, but that's so named. The other one, which was odd, was I was staying in this little place called Avola. Avola at the time was considered a town, but it had a store that was run by an old Hell's Angel, and it was mostly bikers that went there, but the best hamburgers. Anyway, I just outside of town, I was playing with a creek, panning it. It wasn't a very wide creek, but it was nice and fast, and it was just a nice place to be. And again, the hair stood up at the back of my neck. And I look over, and it was a black bear, and it was actually coming towards me, and it was only maybe 30 yards away. And that was really from almost straight behind me, maybe at a bit of an angle. Because what black bears will do is they will try to wind you from downwind. If they figure that you're interesting, they'll sneak in 30, 40 yards. And then if they still want to do something, they'll charge. And that's why most people who get attacked by black bears are bit in the back of the neck, because that's the way they take down big game. But with people, normally they get bit in the back of the head and then scalped. As you start to fight them, you lose your hair. So this bear was there. And I went, ha, bear. But he only ran maybe 20, 30 yards just to the, to thicker force, and turned around and looked back at me. And so I went and got a gun. But as wife, and she wasn't real enthused about someone shooting a bear. And okay, I'll just round the story out. I've never shot a bear. I've shot over them, I've shot around them, but I've never actually pulled the pin on a bear. Mm-hmm. But this one, so it was, don't you shoot that bear. And so I didn't. And it showed up every day that we were there. And I found there was a hermit up on the side of the mountain that said, oh, I'll eat bear. He said, you shoot it, just gut it, and I'll come and get it. And so I decided, I'm not going to ruin the vacation. I'll just shoot it the last day. That was the only day he never showed up. So that was that bear. But when I was in Atlin, I was there for a couple of weeks by myself, my first time there. And I'd actually done online claiming, which is the way things are done now. And I just got some places on spec that I thought might be interesting. And so the top of this one creek, it was a historic creek called Wilson. It really turns into a marsh. It's horrible up there. There's all these trees. They call them, down south, they look like willow trees. But you know the willows you get in the swamps, but up there they're called high brush birch, and they grow up and they go up maybe 15 feet, and then when the snow comes, they all get pushed down, and all this stuff intersects. I still have the scars on my leg from trying to walk through them, because as you try to step over, you keep banging and banging and banging your leg. I come back just bloody. But anyway, there's one place I wanted to walk up. There was a beaver swamp that the beaver dam was gone, so it was just kind of muddy. So I crossed that and I went to where this claim was, looked around and went, well, that was a waste of money. Came back a slightly different way because I wanted to see something different, but I crossed my track and I could actually see where a grizzly had walked up the same, well, I could see my footprints and I could see his footprints by mine. So he was following me. Never did see him. And
he didn't want you to.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, they can walk pretty quiet when they want to, even though they're a huge animal. That same trip, the only thing I had as a so-called weapon is that this big thing of bear spray. And at one point, I hated having this thing in my belt, so I threw it in my backpack, and I did some tanning. And when I was done, I threw a few rocks and my hammer and got stuff into the pack. On the way back, I heard psh, and I thought, oh, my bug spray went off. So I did a circle and hit the creek and tried to wash my face. Huge mistake. It wasn't the bug spray. It was the bear spray.
Oh, man.
And you get that stuff in your eyes, you have a really bad half hour. Yeah. And then, I don't know, so many more bear stories. One more. One of the places I had a claim, again on Antler Creek, but it was a confluence of two creeks. So this little creek came out of the mountain and there's antlers going by, and Antler would get salmon in it in the, when we were there was always salmon, it seemed, which attracted the bears, of course. This one day we were going in, and what I used to do is fly to Edmonton. I had a friend that lived outside of there, so I'd borrow his truck, which had a camper in the back, and I'd drive through Jasper, over to Prince George, south to Quesnel, and then into the Caribou. Long drive. I get there, probably driving all night. certainly crossed, into the next day, thinking, I'm going to have a sleep as soon as I get it. It's going to be great. But the road into my claim had all these trees that were down in front of it. Tried to talk my wife into going somewhere else. I had a different claim, a few miles away, but she really liked that one because it was pretty. Anyway, so I cut the I cut the trees out with a handsaw and was able to get the truck and camper down this trail and into this spot for the night. One sec, I've got to sign back in for some reason. There we go. And I'm ready for a glass of beer and just take it easy. So we're sitting in a couple of chairs outside the camper, maybe 20 yards from it. No campfire. And about halfway through my beer, my wife looks at me and says, I smell a horse. And this area, probably the closest horse would have been in Wells, which was 70 kilometers away. So I grabbed the rifle and I grabbed the flashlight, put it under it. I'm looking around. Never did see it. But the next day I could see where it crossed the smaller creek. And it was like you took a catcher's mitt and shoved it in the mud, and my fingers were its claws. It was a big bear, but it was just walking by.
Minding his business. How about any paranormal? Have you had any really real? The chat loves to hear this, but any UFO sightings, any ghost sightings, any strange,
Bigfoot.
Unexplainable. Actually, last time was only a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I was in Cobalt. In the night, I looked up in the sky. It was just higher than the trees. There were 3 lights that came together, and then darted out again. And I thought, well, is that military? Is it something? Because there's a military base 150 kilometers south. So it could have been, and then I went, well, no, it's not acting like a plane, not doing, and it did this a bunch of times, and then just became one bright light and stayed like that for as long as I was interested. That was kind of weird. I've never seen that happen before. Don't know what that was. I thought originally it was maybe there's a taller tree and I'm seeing something the leaves are doing because there was a slight breeze. But I moved around a little bit and it was always still there. And that was only a few weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, but otherwise, otherwise, no. But my brother-in-law had a cool one when he was camping. They did a lot of hiking, and he decided to camp overnight under the stars in just an opening in the woods, and all of a sudden the ground started to shake, and then the clearing got filled with lights, and he said the sound and he just tried to experience everything that's going on. Turns out it was American bombers. I don't know, which ones it was, but they had their lights on and they did a low-level pass over this area. So it was multiple U.S. bombers that had no expectation of seeing or feeling or hearing, but these things are only a short ways up. And with their lights on, he said it was unbelievable. So he thought he was having that experience,
right.
But it turns out it wasn't. Yeah. But other stuff, typically it's explainable. Once in a while, it's weird. You get a feeling that something's going on or somebody's watching you. I would say more often than not, it turned out to be an animal was watching me. So something that actually was alive versus a ghost. But I've been in a lot of abandoned places, a lot of remote places that could be, were spooky, but that was probably just my imagination playing on me.
Right.
Yeah. So sorry not to have a really good story.
I don't know. I think Lights in the Sky, that's a little bit more up my alley personally. I want to believe. I want, I want to believe that they're out there. So I love hearing that. Our
Yeah,
friend,
well, you can't just say because you can't explain it, it must be an alien. Like there's a lot of in between.
right? Well, you
But
don't
now
have to
in Cobalt there is. Oh, go ahead.
you don't have to say alien. You can just say unidentified. That's how I look at it. It's unidentified. You don't know what it is, and could it be explained later? Yes, but also could there not be an explanation? Also, yes.
Right, right. For me, it just might have been like Tesla's car going by or something.
Right.
Who knows? Who knows? But Cobalt actually has its own Sasquatch story. It actually has almost like a Loch Ness story too in the big lake that's there. Yeah, which is kind of cool. Actually, there's a really good story of when they were surveying. So the lake that is right beside Cobalt, Lake Temiskaming, is really right on the Quebec-Ontario border. And so at one point they decided to send a crew up the border of Ontario, Quebec, and survey it and stake it. And it ran right at the middle of the Lake Temiskaming and got to the top, which is a really long lake. I don't know how long it is, 100 kilometers or so. And it turns into the Montreal River. So it's a large body of water. It's also very deep. It's right along a fault line. Anyway, when they got to the top of the lake, they decided to send this one guy back to get the mail. And the lake was frozen, so he headed back across the lake, shortest distance, easiest walk, no woods. And he ran into a storm. To get out of the storm, he went to the shore, climbed up the side, and fell into a hole. And this is written about in the New York Times back in 18 whatever. So he's in this hole in the side of Lake Temiskaming, and he realizes that it's as good a place as any to weather the storm. So he spends the night there, wakes up the next morning, and he can't get out the way he got in. It's all filled in with snow because of the storm. So he decides to explore, and he got some debris and stuff that he found in this cave lit, and he walked into the mountain. The weird thing was the water ran into the mountain, not out of the mountain that's there, which to me was really weird. But I got to tell you, I was in Atlan in a mine, and that's the direction that the water ran in that mine too. So I guess it's possible. So there he is in this mine. He eventually finds a way out. He tries to walk to this town called Mattawa. He had snow blindness. He had a bunch of different issues going on. Some natives found him and took him there, and he had to be in hospital for a couple of weeks. Coming out of that, he described his story, and that was, again, written up in the New York Times. He spent the rest of his life trying to find that hole, never found it. So somewhere along Lake Temiskaming is a cave that runs into the mountain, and the water actually runs away from the lake, which is odd, but I saw that in Atlan. Now, it wasn't a lake, it was running away from the creek, but even so, it ran into the mountain. The weird, so to tie this back again, what reminded me of the story is the natives even talked about this, like a Loch Ness, some sort of big eel, some sort of critter that was in the lake. The whites since have seen some guys ice fishing. It came up out of the lake where they'd cut their hole with a chainsaw. It was big enough this thing to come through. But the natives talked about a huge serpent that lived in caves. I thought, oh, that might be one reason why they didn't go into the caves, and two, it means there are caves. So it's quite interesting. And I did go one time with one fellow and spent a weekend with him looking for it, but it was a waste of time.
That sounds like a fun time. I would have had a blast looking for it.
Yeah. But like it's this big lake. How do you narrow it down to this one little
Right.
spot?
Right.
Yeah. And in fact, did he really make the shoreline, or did he hit one of the islands?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. So, and if you go just a little further inland from there, there actually is gold. There's around Cobalt. There's like one mine that had gold, but I don't think any nuggets. But you had nuggets once you got into Quebec, so it's possible.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Ed went ahead and did a drawing.
Yep.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Congrats to whoever won.
Congratulations, Gemstone Judy's sister.
Oh, nice.
You'll love it. I have their address already. I'll get to you, Greg, here before too long.
Okay. Yeah. So there's, I don't know what order you did them in. If you haven't, then let's just go like, there's one, there's two, and the third one's kind of cool because, there we go. As the slice goes, it's got the rind, it's the outside of the stone, and then the slice on the inside. That's number 3. Or unless you did it a different order.
You can pick them however you want, Greg. I'm just entering winner.
All right.
I'll just pick them.
Well, I'll be happy with whatever one they get.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Okay, fair enough. That makes it easy, so no one complains.
Yeah.
And now the thing about these rocks is I cut them with my tile saw, so they're just rough cut. You will be able to see the silver in them just the way they are. But if you wet them down or armor all them, they will shine. Yeah, they will shine. But if you take different grits of sandpaper, I like using automotive sandpaper unless you have a flat lap. And they really will start polishing at about 1500 grit. And they'll shine like chrome. So, but I'll leave that to whoever receives it.
I think I'm to like 600 wet sand now on the one of the ones you sent me. So I need to stop and get some more wet sandpaper next time I'm at a place I can pick some up. That's a whole lot of sanding.
Well, you don't have to do it for too long. All you really have to do is take out the scratches from the previous grit. So if I'm doing it, it may only be like 5 minutes aside at most.
Oh, okay.
And so if you got to 600, I'd go to 800 or 1,000 for your next, and then 1,200 or 1,500 for your next. You're almost there.
Okay.
But if you really want to make it shine, go to like 3,000 or 5,000. Normally, what you can do is buy these packages from places that do automotive auto body, and they'll come with all the different grits, and it's cheap and they're only like a half size of sandpaper. But that's all you need. The other thing is do it wet.
Oh yeah.
Don't do this dry because you don't want the dust. You don't want to breathe it in. Just do it dry, and especially when you get to the higher grits, is just use the weight of the rock and spin it around on whatever plate you're using. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it.
Ottis, there's silver ore slabs, buddy.
Some beautiful pieces too.
I'm about getting
they're pretty nice.
Here, the storm moving in. I like to keep flickering on and off.
We got hit really hard about an hour and a half ago, Jess. I was a little worried about losing power here.
This is just now hitting us.
So our friend William McGinnis asked, McGinnis asked, I always think I'm going to say that wrong. What is the largest crystal that you found?
As far as crystals go, I found clusters of crystals that were massive. Almost couldn't pick them up. But for individual crystals, not huge. Probably the biggest was 6 inches long, and then maybe an inch around, which would have been a quartz or apatite or one of those. The nicest crystals, though, were smaller. They just seem to be better formed and less chance of being broken or fractured, that sort of thing.
What's your favorite that you found?
As far as crystals go?
Sure.
Huh. Good question. I recently was at a place that had clear quartz, and I thought it was amazing to find. So that was nice. So really nice clear quartz crystals. But prior to that, I do like the tantanite. I like the stuff that is more difficult to find.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like fishing. I can go to my lake right out here, which is like 50 yards from my door. I can catch bass all day. Yeah. When I was younger, catching bass was something incredible. Now it's just, they're there and I can catch them and I lose interest. But this lake also has the odd walleye. Oh, if I can catch a walleye, that's what I want.
Is there a rock or a mineral that you're just dying to find and that would just make your life?
Huh.
Something that you would go, holy cow, I finally found this.
I would have said platinum, but I got a little story if you want to hear it.
Yes. And if you have the platinum, we want to see it.
Well, so would I. So here's the story. I used to really be bad about mixing up my rocks. I just load the back of my truck. I'd sometimes come home with 300, 400, or 500 pounds of rock, and then I'd try to separate it when I'm home, try to remember where it was from. Good luck. I at one point went to a local refiner and said, I got all the silver. Is it something you can turn into silver bars for me? And he had this really good XRF machine, an XRF imager. And he said, let me check some of these rocks. And he's only interested in the ones that have big veins in them. And he'd scratch off a piece, he'd stick it under, and it would start printing out all the different minerals that were in there. He got excited because there were some rare earths like nubium and things like that. And then there was percentages of copper, and a lot of the ones from cobalt had high percentage of cobalt. Surprise, surprise. But then silver, and so he started to separate some of these rocks and said, well, if you can bring back in 1 ton of rocks like this, we'll refine them for you. I thought, 1 ton like that, I got to go back to cobalt. Anyway, so, but this one rock, he said, but let me show you this one. It was about a 5 pound. It was 1.5 inches thick, kind of oblong. And he said, this is 50%, because he tested a couple different points on there, 50% platinum grade, platinum PGMs. Because it was, platinum plus some of the others. And I don't know where I found that. and so 5 pound rock that if you knew where it came from, you go back and get more. I didn't know where it came from, and I've since misplaced it.
Oh, you like to. You must have a lot of rocks if you're losing those fancy ones like that.
Yeah, it might be one of the ones that Amy threw in the garden. but even so, if I use a detector, how am I going to tell the difference between that and silver? They look exactly the same.
Yep.
So I'd once again think it's silver.
Just sitting there with the rest.
It's just one of those things. So platinum was kind of cool to find. I'd actually love to get into a place where I could find a platinum nugget. Uh-huh. I've panned and done some prospecting out west where it was possible. Actually, no, not true. I did get one in near the Maine border in Quebec. There was a place that had a gold rush a long time ago. One of the first ones in North America, even predates what went on down in eastern U.S. they actually found the first nugget by someone when they're watering their horse, and then somebody else had one in another creek that was used as a doorstop, and somebody finally said, that's gold. Anyway, so I went, and this one creek had all these upturned slate rocks at a slight angle, perfect gold traps. And so I sucked them out with a little, sucker, and put them in the pan and did some panning. And I got a couple of small nuggets, not very big, mostly the size of maybe a rice, and the largest was the size of maybe a pea. But that was pretty cool to find. But what I'd like to get is like a 2-ouncer or something like that.
Right.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
Gold Pro Unlimited asked. Oh, sorry.
Up in called Eureka Gold Sands. He sells pay dirt that has platinum nuggets in it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, he mines out the Similkameen, I believe.
I think so.
Well, that has, there's a great story from years ago that if platinum originally had no value and actually just got in the way of the guys that were trying to pan gold, and they had to find a way to separate the two metals. But the only people that kept it were the Chinese that were mining the same area. One fellow there, when he separated it, filled old pickle jars and then buried them on his claim. And ever since, people have been searching for those pickle jars because every one would be worth a couple $100,000. But no, well, if they found them, they never declared it.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart.
No, I wouldn't say jack to anybody.
But there is a pay dirt seller that does sell platinum nuggets. Eureka Gold Sands.
Gotta be some
Yeah, Eureka Gold Sands.
Yeah.
I think years ago, and it was probably on that Sunday night show, I won some Eureka Gold Sands. And I panned them out with my daughter, Amy. Back then, she would have been like 6. She's now turning 19 pretty soon. Maybe it wasn't that long ago. Maybe she was 8 or 9. But I have done some Eureka. I didn't pay for it.
That's Gino's outfit, isn't it, Jesse?
What was that?
That's Gino's outfit, right?
Yeah, it was Gino.
Yep, that's Gino.
But I was so happy to get it that I actually sent him some silver. That was a lot of years ago. I forgot about that.
I got some platinum from one of his pay dirt bags.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a true nugget, or just
It was a true. It was tiny. It was tiny, but it was a nugget.
Well, Jesse, I'll get permission to go on my old claims back home in Washington if we ever take a trip to Washington. And there's a big hard rock platinum mine above our old claims, and Finney Creek carries platinum nuggets. I found platinum nuggets in there before. So does the South Fork Nooksack too. So we'll try and find you some wild platinum from the Pacific Northwest, buddy. If we ever get to Washington. Yeah, I've been to BC
24 times. I've never been to Washington, never crossed the border south there. Now, I've been to California, and I've been to Arizona and Nevada, places like that. But there's a whole bunch of states there I've never been to.
I worked at a silver mill in Nevada.
A silver mill? No kidding.
Yeah.
Was it a ball mill, or what was it?
I've told this story 100 times. No, I got stuck.
Okay, but just
I got stuck in Austin, Nevada. My car broke down, and I started working for the Thunderbird Silver Mill, which was just outside of town. And what they were doing is they were cleaning tailings that had been washed down from a silver mine up the valley and got flooded down to just outside of town, and they set up a mill, and we're just scraping all this material off the ground where it all piled up. And they were getting, but every 2 days, we would clean out the filters, and he'd go into town with a couple buckets of this gross gray stuff that we'd gathered up for those days. He'd go into Reno and come back next day. He had some silver bars in his hands. That was cool, you know. But yeah, that was we used cyanide,
Okay.
you know, to
Leech it.
no, not to leach it, to suspend it. Cyanide and water and silver, when it's fine silver like that, the cyanide suspends it in the water. All the heavies drop, and then we run the water through a filtering system that captures all those silver particles in the filter. And then when we keep clean them out, we scrape it all down in the buckets. And like I said, he takes it into town and comes back to silver.
You know, all those processes were developed in cobalt.
Yeah.
So cobalt, prior to cobalt being discovered, all mining was, except for the use of explosives, things like that, was as basic as when the Romans were doing it. In cobalt is where they put the thinking caps on and learned how to do things like cyanide leaching or cyanide. They developed a whole number of processes, and then that was used in gold mines and silver mines and copper mines around the world.
Yeah, it was really
kind of an interesting bit of history.
Yeah, it was really cool because my job was to take the front end loader, grab a bunch of sand that was laying right there, you know, and dump it in a screw separator, and it would and mix the cyanide in with that water would get shipped out to a settling pond, and then it gets sucked back up through the filters. And these were like, I want to say they were 5-6 foot tall. They were like the old steam radiators you used to find in apartments. That's what they looked like.
Yeah.
They were bigger. And inside of them, they had you pulled I guess it would be like a beehive thing. You know how beehives are? You pull
But a filter, right?
Yeah, this had a filter in it, and all that silver would get caught in that, and we just scrape it off and stick it back in there, and we run more, and just, you know, just throw in a couple more tabs of cyanide. I mean, and you know, no masks, no regulators, no gloves. There's a 55-gallon drum of little pillow-shaped pellets of cyanide. Yeah, it needs about 3 of them. You reach in and grab 3, throw them in the water. And but we all carried a sodium cyanide EpiPen. That's what. That's if you ingested any, you were supposed to hit yourself up with that, and it took care of it.
Huh.
You hear
Sounds like fun. That actually sounds like the same process they're using at Victoria Gold Mine in the Yukon.
So do you process any of the silver yourself? Do you try to pull any of it out of there?
No, I'll polish it. Yeah, so I'll play with some by cutting it, polishing it. This year I'll start cabbing some of it, so I'll make little cabs out of it. As for the stuff that's in my saw, I collect a ton of the fines. I'll pan those out and save them, and then I've got a buddy that will melt it for me. And what he makes is like a door bar. It's not, certain things burn off when you apply the heat, like arsenic. Other things stay behind, like nickel. But you can remove nickel somewhat with acids. You can play with it a little bit, but I haven't done enough of that. I do know somebody that's local up in Cobalt, and he's got a proprietary process, and he's shown me some of his results. They are gorgeous. Either he had this one nut jar or some kind of jar, you know, plastic jar that, to me, it looks like what you get the Costco nuts in. and it was full of beads because he had poured the hot silver into a bucket of water, and as it descends, it forms all these little beads. And you could actually take those beads afterwards and make a bar, but he just actually had this big container, and it was beautiful. And then he showed me the difference between a bar that is, I don't know, 95% pure silver versus one that's closer to 99.9, and you can actually tell by the way it crystallizes when it's done cooling. So I thought that was cool, but I just don't have the time right now.
Yeah. I was, so is it something you're considering ever, or just not really interested in it, or?
Yeah, I would consider it. Yeah, anytime. I just have to buy more toys. I just have to buy more toys. I got to buy a forge and some, the casting stuff.
Well,
it'd be really cool to make like a MeMiner coin. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
there you
right.
go. Speaking of forge, your friend Explore Underground, Greg, says tell you he's building a ball mill and a forge. You should like that, or you'll like that, he said.
I do like that. So he's a really cool guy. I can tell you a story how we met because it was kind of interesting, but he lives up there, and one of the smartest guys I know. So if he's going to build a ball mill, you know it's going to work. He's going to build a forge, it's going to work. And Ty is his name. I'm going to see him in, I don't know, when's the 22nd, 23rd? That's got to be in a week or so.
Not this weekend, the weekend after that.
Getting there.
So,
Okay, yeah. Between now and then, I got a bunch of doctor appointments because I got hurt. But as soon as those are done, I'm heading up north.
Nice.
And I want to see some. Actually, when I was with Ty, he found a few big rocks with silver in them, and if he hasn't harvested them yet, I'll have the tools with me to take them apart. So if Ty's listening, I will have the tools, my friend.
Yeah, he's in our chat room, Greg.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's actually kind of interesting. I'll tell you like a really quick story. I'm camping with Daisy just outside of town, and I've been metal detecting all day. I made myself some supper. I actually went back, and some guy blew by me on this little tiny motorcycle, like a kid's bike. I went, wow. Anyway, but an hour and a half later, I'm about, I've been detecting now in the dark. This guy comes back, but this time he stops. And so we have a couple of drinks together, and we shoot the breeze, and I don't know what time it was, midnight, 1 a.m. All of a sudden, Daisy starts to bark at the forest, but a direction that there is nothing that way. It's woof, woof. It's like, what is over there? But all of a sudden, flashlights turn on, and the people bug out. That's the weirdest thing I ever saw. And Ty advised me, he said, you know something? They probably saw your campsite during the day, and they didn't think you were staying there, so everything would have been ripped off. Maybe move. So that's what I did. And that was when I met Ty.
So I think Ed
Welcome to the north.
Yeah, I don't know if you're in chat or not, but I think Ed was just talking about maybe doing a second drawing.
Yeah, I hear in a little bit.
Okay.
I just warned people to start making sure they're chatting so they can be eligible.
When he uses Nightbot,
Right.
He uses
Okay.
Nightbot. Yeah.
I've seen that bot before. Unless you do a comment or a chat or pin something to the comment field, you're not included in the draw.
Right.
Right.
They have to chat to be included.
Right. So actually, how many people are watching?
43 at this time. We had a little over 50 earlier.
Cool. Okay. Well, then 7 lose out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they're lurkers, we love our lurkers, but if they're lurking, they don't get a chance to win, you know, Greg?
All you guys, all you guys got to do is say hello. That's it. Just say howdy.
Right.
Trying to get
right.
I love silver.
Lurkers are going to be lurkers, though. Just like the watching.
We still love our lurkers. As long as they're watching.
Wins, draw.
If Ty wins.
But if Ty wins,
draw another one if Ty wins. Okay.
Yeah.
You heard him, Ty.
So,
well,
do you do? Are you doing full-time YouTube? Is that your job right now?
Yeah. Well, I've got a real job in tech, and at some point I'm going to retire. But the last little bit, I've been on disability because in the spring I had a tree drop on me. It broke my back in 2 places.
Oh.
I broke my leg. I collapsed the lung. I had a concussion. And then, and then there were bad things that happened. Anyway, no, I had quite the accident, and they're probably going to want me to go back to work soon because I'm now somewhat mobile, and most of my job is actually on a computer, or driving into a meeting or something like that. And I can do both, I think. So I'm just waiting for the doctor's A-OK, and then we'll see what's what. But I would like to retire. I got 37 years in. It's enough.
I'm sorry. When I asked that question right then, I think I cut Ed off and let him announce a winner. I'm sorry, Ed.
Oh, you didn't cut me off.
Okay.
And that was Ohio Relic Hunter. Is that correct?
Yeah, our buddy. Our life of the chat room, Ohio Relic Hunter. He's a regular here. Congratulations, Bill.
Yeah. Happy for you.
Looks like Jesse got bumped off.
The weather was, I don't know if you guys are getting it or not, but there were some really intense thunderstorms here in our area earlier today. So if he's getting what we got, it was, there were a couple times where I thought I was going to lose power.
It's saying for us about midnight.
Yeah, he'll get it before I do, and Dano, I'll get it before Dano. Of course, it all depends how it's tracking, of course.
Right.
But from the looks of it,
it's supposed to be up this way as well. Oh.
It's coming, yeah. It wasn't a joke. It came in quick here too.
Huh.
So when you do your retiring, do you plan on continuing the YouTube? You seem to have a incredibly successful channel. Is it something you're wanting to grow?
Sure. Actually, what I told my wife is, if I hit 100K, I'm going to retire.
Yeah, that's a great goal.
Yeah.
And you're close. You're getting there.
Yeah, you're almost 2/3 there. You know.
Right, and I think as you get larger, that you exponentially grow faster.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time between say 100 and 1,000, a lot less between 10 and 20, and a lot less between 50 and 70.
How long?
But the other key, was I going to say, the other key is, this was Casey Neistat said this, and I listened to it when he first posted it, probably 8-9 years ago. The one key is keep posting.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got hurt, I didn't post for a while. It just dropped off. As soon as I started posting again, hey, we're back in business.
That drives me crazy about YouTube. Like, can't you have like some vacation time or something? You know, right? You just gotta keep it consistent. You really do.
No, keep them happy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, what's the Jagger song?
Can't always
Yeah.
get what you want. No.
Well, that's one of them. That's one of them. But I'm just thinking more of if I cut my heart out. And anyway, would it satisfy you?
Oh, yeah.
So other than, and I too also say consistency is key. Hey, we've got.
No, it's not. No. When you got a video, post it. You know, when you're at a million subs, yeah, start being consistent but otherwise, you got a good video, put it up. Doesn't matter.
How often you, if you don't mind me asking, how often do you put videos up?
When I got one ready. That's it.
That's
Yeah. Sometimes I'll sit on it for a few hours. Actually, the best thing to do is to load it and let it sit unlisted for 2 to 3 hours, and then post it. The big problem is YouTube continues processing your video, and if you just publish right away, this can sometimes be lags in your sound as your audio gets screwed up, and in your video there can be wobbly things that happen in there, and it's avoidable. Just let them sit on it for a while. That's it. Make the video, post it, do the best job you can with the editing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And in fact, once you try to get perfect, stop, post it, make a new video. But learn from the previous one. And 90% of learning from the previous one is don't record that same way. The biggest problem for most of us that do this kind of thing is you are a rockhound or a metal detectorist or a treasure hunter, and you are trying to record while you're actually, your primary thing is trying to find, and you're also trying not to fall down a hole or bump into something or whatever else is going on. Filming or videoing is probably like number 3, and it shows when you try to edit. I don't know how much video I throw away because I did this, and everything is crap. Yeah. Or I thought and a lot of the stuff is I got one time to capture it. Acid because it just eats everything away, or I do a cut and it's done. But it's amazing how forgiving the audience is if you just explain what happened or use a bit of imagination. If for some reason when I was cutting with the saw and everything was shaking so I got no video, just take the rock, put it back together and say, well, here's the rock I just cut, pull it apart like an orange. They're happy.
They want the grand reveal.
People are pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And we're not all like Peter McKinnon or, some of these fabulous videographers. Heck, when I first started, I didn't know where I could get editing software. So I actually went to like a local store and said, can I buy editing software? And it was like, no, just download it. And I was like, really? And yet I work in tech, right? Or I looked at the cameras and it was, well, how do I make this work? And so I started with, some of the Canons that were smaller and easier to use, but it made horrible video. And then the GoPros, but every year they get better. I just heard today the GoPro 10 is coming out. Normally I skip. I've got a 3, 5, 7, 9. So normally I wait for an 11. Yeah. I'll see what this one does, but I might get the 10 because the 9 is incredible. Actually, what I want to do in this coming up, and I talked to Ty about it, is because it does horizon. If your video is doing this, like you're in a jet ski or whatever, well, I mount mine in the back of my dog. And before, I'd make everybody seasick because she's a lab, and so she kind of does this and she walks, and the video is like this. Well, I think the 9 will fix that.
Oh, no kidding.
And maybe the 10, which isn't due till We have snow here. The 10 might even be even better. Yeah. So the technologies are getting better.
Yep.
The editing software that I use is free. I just use iMovie. I think everybody should have a YouTube channel, and I support it. You know, there are some YouTubers that I don't want competition. Well, that's just dumb. How many videos can you put?
Right.
How many videos can you put out yourself? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you about that competition stuff, you know. That takes the fun out of it. I've seen a lot of people who even used to work together and collab together get to the point where they're like, oh, now we're competition, and it drives a wedge between them where you can't let that happen.
No, that's just dumb. There's enough room for everybody. And as well, if somebody posts something and it does really well, take a look at it, try to figure out why that one did better than your videos, and make one better. That's all it is. And we all learn from each other.
Right.
I learned from Paulie. Paulie learned from Dan Hurd. I spent a number of hours talking to Aquachigger just about, you know, what he does and why he does it that way, and, you know, how much editing he does, you know, minimal, versus some of these other people who try to do a Peter McKinnon video, which is great. You got the drone shots and you've got the great angles and everything else. Do you have to do that? No. Actually, my best video so far was my daughter and me. It took us less than 5 minutes to record it. It took me less than 10 minutes to edit it. And it's got like 5-point-something million views.
Isn't it funny how that works out? One of our best first video. Yeah, we were barely looking at the screen. We were too nervous to even talk to the camera, and it's still one of our best videos.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And there's no explaining it, but you don't have to explain it. Because I've spent other videos where I took hours of footage and more hours of editing. Probably on my worst videos, you know, an hour worth of, a 1 minute worth of footage was an hour worth of editing. By the time you do all the changes necessary, and so if it turns out to be a 9-minute video, that was 9 hours of editing. It's like, are you kidding me?
Right.
And then you get like 1,200 views. Thank you very much. Yeah. But hey, find out why. Now, for me, part of it is the big thing on clicks is what's the description, but even more important is what is the thumbnail. And I spend like 0 hours in thumbnails. I'll just kind of know. I just don't. It's just, you're gonna watch it or you're not, and it is what it is. And then some people, they discover much later because, you know, they missed it. They start to enjoy the channel. Okay, what did you do in the past? And they go find it and they watch it, and it's all good. It's all good. What I don't like is people that really clickbait. You know, the description or the picture is just wrong for the video.
I think we could talk
The
about
other thing,
it.
and I'll tell you, the other thing I don't like is YouTube allows you on longer videos to say ads in the front, ads in the back, but also in the middle. I do not like watching videos with ads in the middle. To me, it destroys the, you know, what's going on there.
I agree with you right there. I won't put mid-roll ads in anything.
No. And the people that do, that's usually where I bail. I hit that, you know, once in a while you get the ones that come up, you just have to hit the X to get rid of it again. I'm slightly okay with that, but they want to take my time and go to 15 seconds of this, then flips over to your, and then you got to skip that one. No, I'm gone. Unless it was a hell of a good video, I'm just gone.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing I noticed was, Go ahead.
Oh, I agree with you. That's a big turnoff. Is
Right.
mid-roll ads a lot of times, except for some personal friends of mine, the treasure vixens. I'll put up with them. But uh, sorry, Rose.
Okay, okay.
A lot of times I'm with you there. Once they hit, and if they're more than a couple and they're really close, it seems like, I'm like, oh my God, really? It's worse
We
than
have
Well, they
primetime
can be every
TV?
4 minutes, right? So in a 12-minute video, you can get 3 different ads in the middle. It's just crazy. Oh, is that right? 1, 6. So you get it 4, 8. No, you get 2 in the middle. But on something that's longer, it's just ridiculous. So what I do is I do like watching YouTube. I like watching YouTube, but things that annoy me, I won't repeat my own channel. And I've seen the same thing said by like Steve Lato, the lawyer down in Michigan. He said the same thing. I'll put an ad in the front. I'll put an ad in the back if you want to see it. The middle, no ads. I thought, cool. I like that. Other people are just, whores for the ad revenue. And hey, if it works for you, good for you, but it's not for me.
Yeah. Right now, I'm pretty much only concentrating on live stuff, Greg. So,
Live is, live is cool, but I guess the problem is not everybody has 2 or 3, 1 to 2 hours to dedicate to something like that.
right.
It is a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, with editing, you can edit out all the stuff that might be a bit slow. I'll tell you the other thing I did was I was watching my daughter with, TikTok and whatever else she's got going on this device and that device. A lot of times she'll run like 3 devices at the same time. So her concentration isn't in any one particular place. When I first had videos, she could not watch more than like 1 minute of it. And she'd lose interest and be looking at her phone or walking away or whatever else. So it really got my attention. I thought, well, that's the age we're in, that you truly have to keep the attention. And how do you do that? And you can learn an awful lot from a number of the how-to channels, how to do videos, and then other stuff is just develop your own style. But it's even things like camera angles. There's an awful lot, if you want to get into it, that you can do to increase your attention rate. But I discovered a new one, if you want to hear it.
Sure.
On iMovie, they got something called flipped. So what you can do is you're only working one camera. So I'm doing this one here. Wait a second, let's do it this way. And it's a filter, and you do flipped, and all of a sudden you're over here like this. So where you really use that is actually with me, I will talk and then I'll pause and I'll think about the next thing I want to say. I really want to cut out that pause. If I just do a hard cut between the two, it's a bit awkward. So what you want to do is probably change the size a little bit. So I go from, this size to this size, and then you do this flipped and it looks like it's a different angle. It really looks like it was intentional. It's a really cool feature to do. And it's so easy, so simple. Anyway, so if you're editing, there's all these little editing tricks you can do. Some are just tricks, but some are just really incredibly effective. And they're out there, usually the problem with a lot of the guys telling you about it is it's a 26-minute video and you got to pull like that 20 seconds out that you go, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, I have
just
so
like,
much in editing, Greg, that it's so old. I just kind of like, boy, I got stuff from right now. This shows we're on our 4th year live, and I have stuff tucked away from 2 years ago, and it's like, it's so old. Do I even want to edit it now?
Right. If it's appropriate. But actually, I just found I was
Video
trying to
from
find a card.
hear that? Do you have video from
Now I do.
5?
No, you broke up, Jesse.
I said you probably got video from 5 years ago.
Oh, I probably do. Well, actually, longer than that. I have I have video from when I made my trommel from In the Shed with Ed days that hasn't seen the light of day. It hasn't even made it into my editor. So, but
Yeah. Well, I found some cards when I was actually I actually ran out of space in all my cards when I was up north last time. And so I tried to find another card to use, and I went, oh, wait a minute. I've never published that video. So I've actually got some really good video from up north that's like 2 years old. Some has snow in it and things like that, but it's still good video. So everybody's got that. The other thing that Aquachigger just discovered.
Here's another thing too. People they think they need a really expensive camera to do this video stuff, and you really don't. If you got a decent phone, you know, it's all about editing. Taking your video and then learning how to edit. It doesn't need, you don't need an expensive camera or a bunch of expensive equipment, even expensive programs. You know, you just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like I use iMovie.
Don't let that stop you.
right.
No, but you know, there are cameras and there's cameras. Now, I wouldn't expect someone to be filming with like an iPhone 3, but if you got an 8, no problem, do it. If you got a 10, even better. The software I use is just iMovie. It's free, but it's on. You have to have an Apple. But prior to that, I used whatever Microsoft had that was free. It was fine. It worked good. Yeah, you don't need the equipment. And actually, a lot of people, you got to ask yourself, are they viewing for the content or are they viewing for the experience? And if you want to be one of these guys doing the experience, like vlogs about nothing, good for you. But that's probably not for us. We probably have content that we want to share. Hey, I'm finding something really cool, or I'm in a place with amazing views, or both, or something like that. You got to find your own niche. You got to figure what works for you. And not every video will work. If you can take a look at it, there's probably a reason, or maybe there's not. It was just the algorithm, or it was the day you published, or who knows what, right? If you publish something in 9/11, I bet you on Rockhounding, people weren't that interested.
Right. And then, you have to be realistic too. Sometimes you do make crappy content. You know, you have to accept the fact that sometimes you're gonna put something out there that's actually crappy.
Yeah.
And you go, oh well, you know.
I've actually gone back. I've actually gone back and deleted a bunch of my earlier videos for that reason. They were so awful. They were so awful. I'm not proud of that. And then other ones, it was like, you know,
to be able to realize when you do that and accept the fact that, okay, I made this crappy video and let's move on, let's learn from it, you know.
Yeah.
Gotta admit.
The shame of it is, I also had to remove some video that I wore the wrong hat. I had one that was, to me, was a hunting hat, but on the little sides, it had these little tiny Confederate flags. I got so much bad comments over that. I got tired of deleting the comments. It was like, I'll just delete the friggin' video.
And that's another thing too, as a as a YouTube content creator, you have to learn to have a thick skin too, because you're gonna have.
Oh, you
you're gonna
do.
have-
You
oh,
do.
yeah, you're gonna,
But I got to tell you, the guys, the people that make the nastiest comments, some of them, I just try this with my shoulders because I can't get my screen straight. but listen to them, because a lot of them are absolutely correct. If you really want to improve, don't listen to the people who say, you are the most amazing guy I've ever watched. You're the
Right.
professor. No, it's the guy that says, you know something, your audio sucks. They'd be like, you're right. Maybe I can do something about that.
you say, well, that guy can't be right. Let me check. Oh, he's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, I shot this at a better angle. Yeah, it's and we are our own worst critics first.
Well, we can be.
Yeah.
But some of these people come out of the woodwork and they've got a comment that hurts when you first read it. But you know something? They're the ones you learn from.
Right.
Because they've got something important to say. Here's my shoulders again. I don't know what's going on. Let me try this way. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, learning how to play chess again with someone that doesn't know any better than you do. You're not going to learn.
Right.
You
Nope.
gotta play someone better than you. You gotta listen to people that are criticizing you, because they may be anus orifices about it, but what they're telling you could be true. You like that, Rose?
Well,
Yeah,
it usually is true.
I like that.
It usually is true. Except the hat thing. Those guys will go bite me. It's just, I'm in Canada. My experience with the Confederate flag was watching hot girls and guys driving fast cars with 99 written on them, and that was it. And other than that, it just reminded me of hillbilly, and I could be a hillbilly. Yeah. So
I'm not offended by
yeah,
that.
but you gotta have a thick skin over it.
Yeah,
What's
definitely
that?
I definitely got to have a thick skin.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
In worst case, you get a really nasty comment, delete it. You got that power.
Yeah.
One of the best pieces of advice that we received, and it was, I always forget his name, and it drives me crazy because I loved that show, is we pin our most negative comment to the top. We pin it right up top, and we don't say anything. We don't do anything or say anything.
Okay, well, I know somebody
let your audience take care of it.
That's
Rose.
right.
Well, yeah.
That's right.
Well, because they will too.
Yes, they will.
What's that, Polly?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if Polly did it either. It was the veteran whose dog was poisoned in Australia.
Oh goodness.
Bogus.
Thank you.
Yes, bogus.
Chris Vogus, yeah.
Yeah, it was the best piece of advice he ever gave us. The second I got it, that's what we've used from there on. Was we put it right up top and we say nothing. Every once in a while, if they insult Angela, I get on there and I'll say a little something. But for the most part, we let our fans do it.
Angela's your daughter?
No, she's my magnet fishing partner. She's the other vixen.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I have to ask you. What have you found with your magnet that's worthwhile doing? That makes you keep going back?
For me, the answer that I give the most was a wagon wheel. I mean, it was pretty epic for me. I couldn't believe we pulled it out of that area. It was shocking.
Like not from a red rocket, you mean a real wagon wheel?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
This is absolutely right. A lot of people always ask, do you like the guns? Do you like the knives? And those are cool, but those are not my favorite. I like older finds. I found a ice cream turner, the tops that you put on the buckets and turned your ice cream. We found 2 of those, and those tickle me pink. So I'm a big fan of older historic finds.
Cool.
It's really what keeps me going back.
Because I still have a magnet on a string on a wind up in the back of my truck. I haven't tossed it in a piece of water for a long time.
Time to do it, man. Got to get it back in that water, see what you can find.
Yeah, but it's iron. Now, if I could find gold,
Right,
yeah, be there all
right.
the time.
I think we all like
Yeah,
that.
no better.
Yeah.
Someone,
Yeah,
some Einstein out there work on a gold magnet for us.
that's it. Yeah. I actually worked with a guy. He was a funny guy. He, we were working shift work, so you know, and the midnight shift, he actually had people. He had a magnet, and he stuck it to the glass on the supervisor's cage, where the supervisor looked out what we were all doing, and he goes, "Hey, look at that! The magnet sticks to glass. I wonder why." And then the people would scratch their head, and they'd go try, and what he had found was a little spot where someone had stuck something up on the glass. It was sticky enough that his magnet stuck. But anyway, it was his other thing on midnights was, I wonder how they make glass. And it was just the funniest comment. At least it was funny to me. Anyway, that was back in the day. Just trying to get people to react to things that were dumb, and it was funny. Yeah.
That's pretty easy nowadays.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's too easy nowadays.
Yeah, it's
Back
just
then,
like-
at least people had thought about it.
Yeah.
But that was back in the day. I used to work for an airline, and then I could fly. Well, the problem was when you first started working, the first year I got no vacation. The second year, because I had 3 months of the prior year, I only got 3 days, and then it improved. But it was like the first 3 years I got like almost no vacation. But I could fly. I got these passes. I could fly anywhere in North America for like $30, and then I could fly to the Caribbean for $40. It was like dirt cheap. As long, you know, and it was shift work, so I'd get 3 days off anyway between shifts. It was great. So I got to see a lot of the world because of that. So I got to see Europe, you know, places in Europe, and I just took every vacation I had, any days off I had, and I flew somewhere and did something. I ended up actually, I'd sometimes go to Jamaica for 3 days, and there was a place that I could detect that I'd find on average 1 piece of gold per hour, usually men's rings, but sometimes something with diamonds or a chain or something like that. And I had I don't know if you guys have them in the States, but Crown Royal, which is a kind of whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes in a blue bag.
Popular whiskey here. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Very popular.
That blue bag, I had one that was 3/4 full of rings.
Oh,
Just that I found in Jamaica.
wow.
And then my wife, who's Dutch, knew a jeweler in Holland. He'd actually pop the diamonds out and give them back in an envelope, but he wanted the gold and platinum, and he'd pay her good money for it. But that was her spending money. Just take a handful, go to Holland. That was her spending money. Got cash from the jeweler, and they're all gone. But that was back when gold was like $3.50 an ounce. Should have kept them. But you know what they say about happy wife, so it's all good.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
So Moto Mining won our
The last drawing. He's a British Columbian from Vancouver Island, though, so you want me to disqualify him, Greg? No, I'm just
Who is
kidding,
it?
Moto. Moto Mining. He's
Moto
from
Mining, don't know him, but
He's from
I should.
Vancouver Island. He
right, this is on Vancouver Island. Is he down? Where is he from? Down by Victoria or further north?
I know he mines with Andy Thrax and Paulie quite a bit, so.
If he's with Paulie, he's down south. Probably.
Well, Paulie moved not too long ago. He don't live in Victoria anymore.
Oh, really?
South Island, he said.
In South Island, okay, yeah.
South Island. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask him about that.
I used to go over to the Vancouver Island all the time when I lived in Anacortes.
Right?
Yeah,
Well,
fair.
I used to take the ferry either to Victoria or Nanaimo when I was in Vancouver, and then I go fishing, go jigging for salmon. And one of the times I went out, and all I caught were these like 2-3 pound. I called them uglies. I was catching dogfish and these uglies. And I went back and dropped the boat off, and he said, "How'd you do?" I said, "Hey, no salmon, but I got these uglies." He said, "Well, what the hell's an ugly?" And I described it. He goes, "Those are rock cod." I think the guy was going to pound me because he said, "Those are the best tasting fish ever." But I threw them all back. Yeah.
Remember, email me your shipping address, Moto, so I could send it over to Greg. I might have it somewhere, but I don't want to look for it. I thought you sent me some stuff, so. But
Yeah.
I usually don't
But
keep addresses unless I have permission.
yeah, I don't keep any of them for the same reason.
Looks like more.
All right.
Oh,
Thanks,
who just-
buddy. Facebook's fine. So, you'll like it, definitely. I know I do. I gotta get some more sandpaper, though, so I can wet sand those further down.
Next time I'll ship it with the sandpaper.
Oh, sandpaper's cheap, Greg.
I know it is.
Um,
Cheaper than shipping.
yeah. I hope you had as good of a time tonight as we have, Greg.
I enjoyed this. You know something? This is only my second live stream. So,
Really?
and both times, I drank a bottle of wine. But this time, my friend, I actually ate before I did the live stream.
Oh, so when you were on Digging with DJ's show, you didn't eat before, huh?
Wasn't that drinking with Deej?
Drinking with DJ, yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was for me, man. that was an empty stomach. I actually hadn't eaten at all that day, if you can
Ooh.
believe it. So I when I got out of hospital, between the medications and just lying around and everything else, well, even beyond hospital, I got a gut that I want to get rid of, and so I've been following kind of a keto diet and intermittent fasting, and that was one of the days that I didn't eat until it was supposed to be the carnivore supper diet. Now, I know with that diet, you're also not supposed to drink wine, but hey, sacrifices.
I get it. I have those diets too.
Yeah. You could, I'll follow this one and then try to pull it all together in something that makes sense. But I do want to get rid of my gut. So we'll see. Anyway, so my drinking with Deej, that was the first one. And this is my second one.
Oh, okay, had fun.
And I had a blast.
Good.
Hope you guys did too.
Oh, it was great. I know the last time you were supposed to have been on a year or so ago, you had your accident and it just seemed like a few things hit you back to back at that time. I'm really happy you were able to make it this time. And sound like Rose did a great job and Jesse didn't have to talk much. He always likes that.
Rose did an amazing job.
Oh, God.
The only thing is, I get this screen that shows up with a sketch of Flash. It says Flash Fam. And every time it comes up, what was it, Queen? Flash. Ah. Anyway, that's what I think of. Sorry, man.
Oh, no problem. When you did that, you reminded me of a British friend of ours. Not a
Thanks.
great gamer.
Okay.
Just he'll say that all the time. Flash. Oh.
Yeah. I forget there was something to do with Flash Gordon, right?
Right.
But it's Queen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Movie
Maybe
Flash.
but as soon as it came up, it just every time it happens, I go, oh, shut up.
Oh, yeah. All
Pardon.
kinds of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, like
Anyway,
2 hours flies by quick. We got that number because it seemed like an hour was too fast, but
yep.
unless we have someone really interesting like you on, sometimes we go over into overtime, like now.
Time.
But
Okay. Well,
it's
like I said,
great.
it was good fun, and anytime, man, I'll do it. So if someone bails, I'll come back.
Oh,
that's
excellent.
Just a good way to do it.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Greg. It was a pleasure having you on.
Actually, probably. Yeah, and probably for me, because I'm so friggin' inconsistent, probably someone that bails the last minute, just tell me to come on and I'll be there. Versus you set something up like 3 months before. I don't know what I'm doing in an hour, let alone 3 months in the future.
I'll make a note of that right now, Greg.
There you go.
I do schedule people way out. So
Yeah. Well, I'm not dependable that way.
We can call you on a moment's notice, so that's good. That we can deal with.
What's that?
If we can call you on a moment's
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
we can deal with that.
Absolutely.
We just may very well do that. Again,
Okay,
thank
sounds
you
good.
very much, Greg. Everybody out there, thank you all very much. Congratulations, Moto, Bill, and Judy. You'll love the specimens. As soon as I get your mailing addresses, I'll get them over to Greg. And believe me, he ships out quick. I know he's a busy man, but he does ship out quick. Let me see. Next week we're having Gigologist with us. Should be a good show for all you metal detectorists out there. What am I saying? Should be a good show. It is going to be a great show. Thanks all again for joining us. Until
let me-
next.
Real quick. You say something real quick.
Oh, okay.
We got a comment in here from Explorer Underground. He says, one day I'll be famous enough to be invited for a live stream.
Well, you never know, Exploring Underground. I might get a hold of you. I don't care if
Well,
you
that's
have
time.
Ty, I don't care if you have 300 subscribers or 1,000,000 subscribers.
Right.
I've had both those. I've had Aqua Jigger on, Adventures with Purpose. I've had the famous MeMiner on. And then I've had other people with just several hundred on. I'm here to let your light shine, everybody, and we all love treasure.
If you guys want to be on the show, get a hold of Ed. Email them. Let them know what your YouTube channel is. We'll check it out. And if you're in our wheelhouse, yeah, why not?
Yeah, chances are I'm already subbed to you anyway. So.
Right. Or at least one of us is.
Right.
But again, another good show, Ed.
Right on, Ty. Sounds good. I'm sure you have some great stories too. Oh. All right, everybody. Until
Oh, I guarantee you, Ty has some good stories. He does go underground in places that I would not ever go in. Hey, if my dog Daisy won't go in, I'm not going, but Ty will.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff we like to hear about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Most
Guys, I'm so
definitely.
sorry
And he
to
took
interrupt.
aqua sugar around.
Listen, I have to pick up my kiddo from work, you guys. I'm so sorry to bail out so quickly.
What?
Oh, Greg, it was a pleasure, but I'm gonna be late. I'm already late, so
Okay, sis.
Go.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry to bail out.
It's all right, Rose. Go pick up your kid. Get out of here.
Good night, guys.
Good night,
Bye.
Mrs. Briggs. And on that note, thanks again, Greg, Jesse, Dano, all of you out there, the Flash fam. I greatly appreciate all of you being here every week. It's because of you we love doing what we do. Until next week, may you always have a flash in your pan.
You know what he's gonna say next.
That's right, Jesse, because it does happen. Maybe one day too, we'll meet you on the river. Good night, everybody. God bless. Love you all.
Good night, everyone.
See ya, Ottis, Greg, Jonathan, friend. You can always watch the replay, buddy.
Jefferson State Gold.
3, 2, 1.
Dang, you missed it. Watch the replay.
Right.